Happy Sunday, happy May. Welcome to the Happy Chaos Project. This week, I'm going to talk about things that made me happy during the week, including bubbles. Hi, I'm Emma. I'm on my second rodeo with cancer, and this time around, I'm choosing to defy the cancer world by choosing things that make me happy and focusing on those things instead of focusing on having cancer. My son Ryan and I are taking little adventures in our hometown, are around the state and surrounding states, depending on when we have time. And those adventures include scavenger hunts. Today, I am rocking this plainer yellow headscarf because I have this more floral and busy pattern on my shirt, which I absolutely love. This week, I was looking for bubbles, and I will also give you an update on whether Ryan found his puzzle box. The last couple of weeks, I've given you updates that he was looking for a puzzle box as his scavenger hunt item, and he had not been able to find it. So I'll let you know this week whether we were successful. This week, Ryan and I chose to take an impromptu trip to Oregon because the weather had been so hot the last couple of weeks. We didn't really want to travel very far. And of course, here in the Pacific Northwest, hot isn't really very hot. When it gets into the 70s and 80s, we feel like we're melting. And it was definitely getting up to the upper 70s, lower 80s. And thankfully, the weather turned and a cold front came in and we got back to our regular weather. It was cold and rainy, which is my absolute favorite weather, which is why I love living in the Pacific Northwest. And we thought that would be a good time to go to take maybe a last trip to Oregon before the summer came and it got too hot to travel. So this week, our adventures took place in Oregon. I made a list of dozens of thrift stores and antique shops that I hoped that we could visit along our journey. Dozens. It may seem a little bit unrealistic. We only had 3 days to travel, and I'll let you know how many of those we actually made it to. And we were hoping to find my item this week, which was bubbles, and of course, Ryan's puzzle box. And we hope to be surprised along the way and find things that made us smile. Here's some highlights from our trip. Here we are. We're in the car on our way to Oregon. The trip begins. We're looking for bubbles, smiles, and fun. Let's see what we find. There it is. Welcome to Oregon. Woo! I found this cool egg separator, and the egg whites separate through his nose. That is too funny. One of the reasons that I like going out and taking these little adventures with Ryan is I think it's really important to go out and see the things that you love as often as possible, but also to go out and find new things and try new experiences and find new things to love. Constantly adding to your list because the more things you have on your list of things that you enjoy and things that you love, that means that throughout your days, you will be able to find and identify things that make you smile. On our last trip to Oregon, we actually were looking for a town that made us feel good and made us smile. Something that we liked because we are planning on moving back to Oregon, hopefully in the next year. So we literally just drove around towns. We went down the coast, we went around the northern section of Oregon, and we drove around each town, getting a feel for the vibe for the community. You could tell when you drive through a community, some towns look a little more run down, and other towns you can tell that they are very intentional about the way they look and the way they plan, and that they enjoy feeling like a good looking community. And that's something that we are looking for, is a community that cares about how it feels. So we had a lot of fun doing that, and we definitely had some of our favorites along the drive. And when we were along the coast, we have to say Cannon Beach. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Cannon Beach. It's very, very busy, especially when tourists are coming through. So that's probably not somewhere we would move, but we definitely very much enjoyed that town, enjoyed the way everything was designed and laid out, and also some of the stores that they had, which were a little bit different. And of course, on our trips, we try to hit a Dutch Brothers coffee down the trip every single day. We make sure that wherever we're staying, there's a Dutch Brothers nearby, and then we hit one on the way back because there's nothing I love more than a good hot cup of Dutch Brothers coffee every single day. I'll talk about this more later, what I do to make sure I always have Dutch Brothers coffee. And we actually have a side trip going that we're going to try to hit every Dutch Brothers coffee on the West Coast. And so far, we've gotten to quite a few through our travels around Washington and Oregon. And even when we took a trip to Utah back in March for my work, we hit several Dutch Brothers along the way. So that's been a really fun side adventure for us. And speaking of things that I love, one things that we love about Oregon is the fact that it is so green and there's more wild nature. When you go driving through the towns, you can tell that they are less manicured. They will let the greenery just grow. Um, Trees and bushes and flower beds, they are more full of greenness. It's very different from other places that we're at, and we really, really enjoy that. We also enjoy the fact that they tend to have more not natural options like natural food stores. Um, Natural health options and also places to eat vegan restaurants. Ryan is vegan and it's extremely hard for him to find vegan restaurants, especially here in Washington. There are almost no options. And I'm sorry to say restaurants when you all you do is offer a salad with no protein options on there, that is not a vegan option. So we really enjoy being able to go down to Oregon and be able to eat at restaurants so that there's something that he can eat and something that I can eat. So during this trip down to Oregon, we actually managed to go to 20 thrift and vintage stores in 3 days. I cannot believe it. When I added it all up, I was completely surprised that I was able to even handle that. Some days I'm feeling pretty rough. I don't have as much energy. So I was very pleased at the outcome of this week and all the places that we went to. But I have to admit, by yesterday afternoon, our eyes were pretty worn out and tired from looking at all the variety of things at the 20 different stores. So we were definitely ready to call it quits and come home and have a rest and also look at all of the wonderful things that we bought along the way. And of course, we were looking for things that made me smile, and there were a lot of things along the way that definitely did that. As a matter of fact, one thing that made me smile the biggest is, yes, we have an update on whether Ryan found his puzzle box. Here it is. Oh my gosh, folks, we actually finally found our puzzle box. This beautiful butterfly, and it took us a little while to figure out how to open it. And inside, there's
You can fit one
jewelry.
necklace.
Yeah, one necklace, but it's a puzzle box. We have succeeded. We can now move on to the next search. And the funny thing is, once we found the first puzzle box, we couldn't stop seeing puzzle boxes everywhere we went. Oh my goodness. Once we found a puzzle box, we can't stop seeing puzzle boxes. Look at this adorable pelican with a little drawer. Love it. There were more puzzle boxes. So now every time we go out thrifting or, looking in stores, we're going to find puzzle boxes. It took us weeks to find the first one, but we have now opened the floodgates and we will forever see them. But I am so excited that we were successful and we met Ryan's goal of finding the puzzle box. He hasn't made his new goal for this week, but I will share it with you next week, what it was that he chose and whether we found it or not. I was specifically looking for bubbles this week. And of course, when I choose an item, I keep it pretty open to interpretation. I don't always know exactly what I'm looking for. And bubbles was actually a really hard item to find. Here are some examples of what I did find. Little tiny bubbles at the top. Yay. Before our trip, I went to a toy store, a local toy store here in our town, and I actually was looking for a bubble gun because I've tried some bubble machines before and they weren't that great, and I was looking for something that was really good. And I found, oh, can we see that? I found this one, at the toy store, and this has been absolutely my favorite and so much fun. The downside is the bubbles run out really fast and you have to keep refilling it. But that's just a small problem when you get to have so many bubbles and have so much fun with it. So I decided to go out and compare this bubble gun with some other bubbles that I've gotten in the last couple of weeks to see how they compare and which we like the best. And Ryan helped me with this. And let's see how these compared with each other. Okay, we're going to test out different bubbles and see which ones we like the best. This is the smallest bubble container with little circles. Oh, you gotta do that higher. All right, there goes the bubbles. What do we think of that? Is this one hard to do, Ryan?
Apparently.
Okay, small container we're having trouble getting bubbles from. All right, now we're going to try a bigger container of bubbles. Let's see the bubble wand on that one. Okay, bigger bubble wand. Oh, it's a double-sided. No, wait, is it double-sided? No. Okay, it's just bigger.
You're supposed to shake it or blow it?
Just blow it. There's some big bubbles. Do you like blowing the bubbles?
No.
Like the action? Okay, that's not your favorite. Okay, then you could just wave the wand. That works.
Except it splatters.
Okay, it splatters. So this is a pretty satisfactory bottle, but it's very big, so it's hard to do in a small space.
Why did none of these?
Okay, now we're going to try a different one. This has triangle.
They look tiny.
They look tiny? Okay, let's see what happens here. Oh, lots of bubbles. Look at that. Are they triangle bubbles? No.
No, that's not how physics works.
That's right. He's always telling me. Oh, this one's producing a lot of bubbles. Wow. Okay, try waving it on this one and see what happens. That one doesn't work as a waving one. Okay, only as a blowing one. Not very well.
Yeah, not really.
Okay, now we're going to try the ultimate. Okay, this is a bubble gun, and you don't have to do any blowing or waving, and let's give this one a go. Wow, look at all those bubbles. Oh, it's blowing towards the porch. Wind is wonky today. Whoa! Okay, I don't know about you, but this is incredibly satisfying. I could just sit there and do that all day.
Oh, that works better.
Look at all those bubbles. Okay, stop it for a second because I want to see all the bubbles that are floating away down the alleyway.
Did you hear them popping?
Oh, they are popping. How funny. Very satisfactory. Do you like bubbles? Which of the bubble bottles did you like best? Did you have a favorite of all of them? Do you like slowly blowing bubbles or do you prefer the bubble gun, which has lots of bubbles that come very quickly? Let me know in the comments below which was your favorite. If you're stressed, bubbles can be a great way to de-stress because it requires you to breathe in and slowly breathe out to blow the bubbles out. It can be a really, really great way to calm yourself, refresh yourself at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how old you are. I am obviously not a teenager anymore, and I still love bubbles. So whether you're 10 years old, 20 years old, 50 years old, 80 years old, bubbles can be a great thing for you. And I personally give bubbles a 10 out of 10 for things that make me smile. This week, we plan to stick a little bit closer to home. We've taken several trips over the last few months, and that can get a little bit tiring, even though we've really enjoyed ourselves. So we'd like to take some more adventures, but not go quite as far this week. This week, my goal is to find keychain charms, something that goes on keychains. I'm not looking for anything specific. I just want things that make me smile, and I plan to be surprised. And speaking of our scavenger hunt, I am very, very excited to announce that I received a reply from one of the random letters that I sent across the country from KT in Nashua, New Hampshire. And she blessed us with this wonderful contribution. Here's a photo of what she found. And this is what she said. She said, I'm not one to thrift, but I made an exception in order to complete my mission of locating empty jar. That was the random item that I asked her to find was empty jar. She said, what a bright, exciting empty jar this is. It's not just pink, it's pink. And I have to agree. It is fabulous pink. Thank you so much, KT, for joining in on the scavenger hunt fun. I just absolutely smiled. I had tears in my eyes when I got your reply. It's so absolutely fabulous. And look at this great jar. Any of you who love pink know that there are really pink jars out there available for you if you just look around. And now I can update my map for the scavenger hunt and let me show you that map. I've added a pin for Nashua, New Hampshire over here on my scavenger hunt map. And you can see that this is on the East Coast and I'm all the way over here on the West Coast. And I absolutely love the fact that modern technology allows people from opposite sides of our country to be able to participate in the same project. And I hope soon that I'll be able to add pins for you on the map so we can see how everyone is collectively going out and looking for things that make us smile and make us happy. I'd love for all of you to also join in on my scavenger hunt, looking for things that make you smile. You don't have to go out into thrifting or any special places. You can look for your items wherever you go, your regular shopping trips, whether you go to and when you go to school, when you hang out with your friends, when you go to work, wherever you are, you can look for these things. If you tend to be out in nature more outdoors, you can look, your random item can be something that you might typically find in the outdoors. The only rule is to make it fun and plan to be surprised. And I hope that you'll share it with us here. So all you have to do to share it is send a photo in at happychaosproject@gmail.com so that I can share it with everybody on the next episode. If you need help getting started, here is a random item for this week. Buckle. I like to choose random items because it leaves it open for finding anything. For instance, buckle can have many interpretations and can be found in many places. So I don't always try to find something extremely specific. Like last time I said I'm looking for sunshine. I had no idea what that meant. I just hoped to be surprised when I went out, and I was. It was a lot more fun. Join us next week when I'll give you an update on my hunt for keychain charms, and I'll also talk about why it's important for the whole family to be involved in having fun, whether you're going through cancer or some other difficulty in life. Until next week, keep on smiling and looking for happy in this chaos that we call life.